I used to think that Adventist men are the hill I'm willing to die on, until I started exploring other people, non-Adventists rather, and I experienced so much more. And then I started thinking, maybe Adventist men are not the hill that I'm willing to die on. Maybe I can try somewhere else, Molweni Zithandwa. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mihlali. Oh, Inkosazana Mayongo. And I am excited. I am so excited to have you here. Welcome to the segment of my channel that is called We've Got Opinions. We've got opinions. And today's topic excites me so much, Kasan, because as you can see in the description or the title of the video, that the name of this conversation that we are having today is I Don't Date Adventists. Sure, this is just a title. It doesn't mean I personally don't date Adventists. But I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Let's get into the conversation and let's find out where I stand. Okay, let me welcome you guys again to my channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I am so excited to be here. This is my very first official video. The first one was an introduction video, obviously, and this is the first one where we getting into the gist of things. We're trying to find what is this we've got opinions thing. Okay, so as you already know, I'm shooting with my phone, so I've got my dear notebook, my best friend, next to me, so that I don't fumble and just ramble and go on and on. I have my thoughts structured so that we can have a proper conversation, and I can't wait to hear your engagement or what you have to say on this topic. So this topic, I don't date Adventist, was inspired or was influenced by a conversation or rather a post I saw on Facebook. And if I knew a few weeks ago that I would be sitting here today and I would be having this conversation or I would be shooting this YouTube video, I would have saved that post. Yes. But I think you guys must think you're God or the Holy Spirit or something, because I was going to name drop. I wasn't planning to name drop, but I didn't see anything wrong with mentioning people's names. And now when I'm looking for this post, I can't find it anymore. I'm like, ish. And I think in that post, people were speaking as to why they don't date Adventists anymore. It's like Adventist people speaking about why they don't date other Adventists anymore. And it would have been so lovely to see the reasons there. But and I saw another post as well as I was doing more research and looking at other posts as well, trying to figure out what is the theme or the vibe of the reasons why people don't date Adventists. And guys, I kept losing these posts. I'm like, oh, come on. So I guess the Holy Spirit has convicted me. The next time I do research, I'm not gonna name drop. But even now, I'm no longer name dropping. I did get some comments from people, but I'm not gonna name drop, please. But anyway, let's get right into it. Oh, before that, I think guys. I think this is a conversation or a topic that has been in my heart, because when I was speaking to my friends about this topic and finding out their opinions and everything, I realized that when I was doing my final year, when I was doing my BA degree in counseling psychology, my final year research, my final research, the one that determined if I'm graduating, was actually about religiosity and intermarriages. I wanted to find out if your level of religiosity determines if you would marry or date someone of a different religion. So it's somewhat related to this. It's just that now it's a little more contextualized or a little more narrowed down to specifically Adventists. But obviously we're not looking at people's levels of religiosity. And what I found through that research, I think it's the obvious, that the more religious you are, the more likely you are to sorry, I got distracted. I heard some noise. Sorry about that, guys. I live with people and I did ask that they try to keep it down, but I hear things banging and I'm just like, ish, okay. But sometimes when you try so hard to do something, that's when you start doing it more. To not do something, that's when you start doing it more. But anyway, back to what I was saying. the more religious you are, the more unlikely you are to marry or date somebody from a different religion. So maybe I'm not suggesting anything and I'm not saying anything about anyone, but maybe if you are more open to dating people of other religions, this is not only now contextualized in Adventism and Christianity, but it's more towards other, like if you're a Christian and you can date people from other religions that are not necessarily Christian, this is not about denomination, then maybe you're not that religious. I don't know, but it was just research and you can do your own research on it and find out your own opinions. Anyway, coming back to Adventists, Amasabat, my people. My people. Now, I asked a few of my friends, since I couldn't find this post, I asked a few of my friends, definitely people on my WhatsApp contacts, what their views on this are. And I'm so disappointed, not necessarily disappointed, but I knew that this would happen, okay? A lot of the women answered more in depth. They were going, they were sending voice notes, 6 minutes. I was just like, yes, girls. And the guys were so nonchalant, like they didn't really want to answer. They just sent like short messages, and I'm just like, deep, guys. So I asked both my guy friends and my girlfriends. So these conclusions or these views come from both genders. I try to source out as much as I can from the gents, but mostly it's women. Okay, now I try to find the reasons, right, why people prefer dating non-Adventists. Okay, this is the angle that I was taking. And the funny thing is that when I had this idea of this video, I was thinking about a totally different idea. I was thinking, only give opinion and leave you. But I'm so grateful that I engaged other people because I got different perspectives and views and not my own narrow mind. And I got such funny reviews and everything. I was laughing, and guys, I but to start this conversation, and before we get into the reasons of why people are not dating Adventists anymore, or rather why other Adventists are not dating Adventists, I just want to start this with I'm gonna read it. I wrote it down, a quote, or rather a post that I saw on Sizwe Gom's Facebook page. Guys, I'm telling him Sizwe Gom. I love him so much. He posts the most funny things ever. He's like an Adventist comedian, you know. Some of the things that he posts, I'm just like, this guy, really? I honestly go in his page and I'm always like, really? So he posted this back in April, and he says, okay, he's the only one I'm name dropping. Okay, I'm gonna name drop only 2 people, but it's only good things. So yeah, anyone else, I'm not gonna say their name. So he says that, ladies, any jola or any shade nama are non-Adventists. How do you explain a whole day of a business meeting to your man? Like, UTEP imali. And I was just finished, because honestly, first of all, how do you explain what is a business meeting? How do you explain that you are there for the whole day? So when the whole day on Sabbath you were at church, now on Sunday the whole day you are there. I can even get worse when there's Pathfinder practice. This kuning in my ear. Kuning. But I just loved this quote. And now these are the reasons I got from my friends, about why they don't date Adventists. Number one, the general feeling from everyone was that kafana, like Adventists, non-Adventists, kuyafana, in the sense that some of them said they feel that Adventists set this high expectation of themselves. They get to you promising you the world. They present themselves a certain way, only for them to you. Hey, they will you, those people. They will drop you ever, and they will disappoint you in the greatest way ever. And one of them even went to the extent of calling them hypocrites. She's like, Adventists they're the most hypocritical people she's ever met. And guys, I just want us to contextualize this. This is not to say all Adventists, number one, and this is not to say the character of Adventists in general, but specifically in terms of dating. Okay, let's narrow it down. Let's not say even at workplaces or other aspects of their lives. No, here we are focusing only on dating, not even marriage, just dating, the aspect of dating. These are the views for that. Okay, And I just want to say, Uguti, as a person who once attended a Adventist college, I came to learn very quickly that Adventists or Christians in general are human. And the reason we go to church is because we are trying to become better people. Do you understand? So, that's it. Like, I don't even know what to say. If you must expect to be disappointed. Each and every one of us are flawed, and that is the reason we're going to God, so that he can work on us and he can fix us. So I'm not speaking for them. I'm not saying they're not hypocritical, but I'm just saying, sometimes maybe we also raise our expectations higher than we should, because we forget, we are human and we are flawed. Okay, and then they also said Uguti Adventists feel like they are the world's greatest gift to humanity. Yo, people are hurt, guys. Hey, my head. That's how they feel in general all the time. And these people think, when you've got me, you've got everything, and you will never go anywhere else. I can treat you however I want, So yeah, man. I actually wrote it down. They think they are the world's greatest treasure and nobody is above them. Like, oh, okay. That's a bit deep. And then the second reason why the people are asked don't date Adventists, this is general. It's not specific to one person, but just the feel. I took the major themes, right? The second one is being unequally yoked within the church. So this one speaks a lot to the whole week. The whole week we will be doing things like people of the world, doing our own thing, doing whatever we want, and then only speak about God or Christianity or pray together or something only on Sabbath. Maybe it's a young happy Sabbath, God bless you, Nyana, So those are things that even non-Adventist guys can do. If we're gonna go on and do our things, live our lives, do whatever everybody else is doing in the world, and speak about God just a little bit, then I might as well date a non-Adventist guy who has the same values as me, who also believes in God. And we can, as a matter of fact, one of them said, I actually speak more about God with my non-Adventist partner than I've ever done with my Adventist partners. And I think this is one of the things that she takes seriously. Guti, bruh, we're not even speaking about God. Gandhi, what are we doing in this relationship? Like, and there's nothing else, there's no growth. So it also speaks to that thing, Guti, by a fan. It's no different. They are no different to our first point. So I think the main theme of everything is there's no difference whether you're fan. And then the number 3 reason is the principle. They say, rather they want to marry Adventists or date Adventists because they've always been told, you don't go anywhere else. You understand? But I remember a friend of mine said, I used to think that Adventist men are the hill I'm willing to die on. I didn't want anything else because it was preached so much. The principle was preached so much in my head that I believed it until I started exploring other people, non-Adventists rather, and I experienced so much more. And then I started thinking, maybe Adventist men are not the hill that I'm willing to die on. Maybe I can try somewhere else, And that's because she says, what is the reason for Adventist men being the hill that I am willing to die on if I am not being treated kindly and with respect? If I can meet a non-Adventist man who doesn't have a problem with me going to church on Sabbath, who understands my principles and my values and has the same values as well, who believes in God and himself, and we can share more or less the same major principles, then why not? Why not? And then the last one, before we move into the fears that people have with dating non-Adventists, yes, we want to date non-Adventists, but these are the things that we fear about it. Okay, the last one is the major one that everybody speaks about, and that is cheating. Yeah, good one, yeah, cheater, guys. Good one, and it's as if Adventists do it more. It's as if, now I believe that whether you're dating within the church, you're dating outside of the church, get cheap. Like, Men, women, they cheat, guys. I don't understand what is this thing that drives a person to cheating. Mara, kya cheat ngaphandle la, guys. But people, or Adventists specifically, feel like Adventists cheat even more, you know. And honestly, I'm not going to when I say we cheat by everywhere, but I think the reason why it is perceived as though it is more is because the Adventist community is literally so small. Like, it's so small. So when you're cheating, we're gonna know who you're cheating with, and then the other person is gonna make sure that I know that when I'll cheat, yeah, like, it's a lot, you know. But besides that, I think, or rather, they said with him, when Adventists men cheat, they don't even do it secretly. They don't even try to hide it. They make sure that they just do. They just do, you know. And they one said, nizofika ni-5 kwi-district eyi-1, you know. And cabanga manje camp meeting nonke nizobona umuntu oyi-1 ni-5. Come on, guys, think about it. But I get it. I get it, okay? I get it. But okay, now let's get into the fears of why people fear like being in relationships with non-Adventists. Okay, number one, better the devil that you know. I think that's what we all think. Better the devil you know than the one you don't know, in the terms that when you are with an Adventist, the principles are the same. So we were all raised learning the same thing, right? We will all have the same values and the same principles. And now, one friend said, "Uti, imagine, friend, if I start now dating a non-Adventist, I have to start discussing major principles, like, or major pillars, like things like state of the dead. Ati, there are non-Adventist men who are Christians, yes, and have very good values, but they still believe in ancestors. And now I'm opening a can of worms that I've never experienced before. I've never had to consult any ancestors. I've never had to do all of those things. Now I must start there. It's a lot for me. And things like the Sabbath. Now we must start explaining why the Sabbath is on Saturday and all of those things. It's just too much. So it would be better if we already have those major things on the side, major beliefs on the side, then we know. Even another one said this, from both males and females, that okay, let's just fight about things related to umjolo and personality and things that people argue about in relationships. Let's not now argue about the fact that I'm going to church on Sabbath and you want to go to a concert. Our Anthony Hamilton, they come on Sabbath, guys. Now you want to go to the concert, or you want to go to a braai with your friends, and I can't because I want to go to church, you see. So let's argue about other things, man. Let's have other problems, not problems like that, you know. And it even goes further, because when we date to get married, not to kulala. So now we are married now. You go to church on Sunday, I go to church on Sabbath. We have kids. I want my kids to be Adventist. So now what's going to happen? On Sabbath, they go to church. On Sunday, they go to your church. Come on. And the thing is, on Sunday, we have pathfinders. So my children are not going to be pathfinders. So it's those kind of things, those kind of conversations that people are like, as much as I'm like, yeah, Adventist, but the only reason I'm sticking it through is because really... And these things make sense, honestly, to me. They definitely do. Now, I never share anything without sharing my testimony or or my story or my experience, right? And I have been on both sides. I have dated Adventists, and I've dated non-Adventists, and both ways. But anyway, I was dating this guy who was non-Adventist, obviously, and this is the reason I have come to the decision that I don't want to date anyone else but Adventists. Okay, now this is coming from a person who comes from a family where my mom is Adventist but my dad was not, and they were married for like 35 years before my dad passed away, and they were happy. They didn't have any problems. But one thing that I've come to realize, that if you're gonna, so before I go to that part, so I've always had that idea, it works. I've seen it work for all my life, for all my parents' life, it has worked. But one thing that I have come to realize as I've grown older, that there's always a compromise, you know. And as much as I wouldn't want to get into detail because it's my parents' marriage and it has nothing to do with me, but I've seen where my dad had to compromise to accommodate Adventism, but also my mom had to compromise to accommodate my dad's family and their beliefs, you know. So there's always a compromise. And dating and marrying Adventists is all about deciding how far are you willing to go with the compromise. Okay. And then okay, so I was saying, I was dating this guy who was not Adventist, and I was interacting with him, or I don't know what was, I don't remember the context of this, but in his things, I found like pink powder. You guys know pink powder, and some small bottles. I don't know if they look like they had muti or something like that, and I didn't appreciate that. I was like, I don't use these things. I'm not accustomed to these things. As much as my dad was not Adventist, but he was not a very muti oriented guy, and if he was, then he did it on his own, because he always encouraged us to go to church and to pray. You know, I never experienced that side, so I felt so uncomfortable, because now I didn't even know why this person had this muti. I didn't even know if he was going to use it on me, which I doubt he did. And I did ask him at some point, but a long time after. So I'm like, why do you have muti? He's like, no, it's just to strengthen me. So I'm thinking, why do you need to be strengthened if you have God who can strengthen you? You see? So our contexts are very different. And for those differences, I ended up ending the relationship. And for me, it was very uncomfortable, because I just felt like I had opened myself up to a world that I didn't know about without even knowing. And this reminds me of a post I saw on Facebook. So this girl is sharing a story about her friend who married an Adventist, and things happened and what, and then they found things in their garden because somebody planted muti, what. So she says, this is awful advice, guys. Awful. Please don't take it. I am saying it before I read it. Disclaimer, do not take it. I am saying it because I disagree with it. She says, this girl, date whomever you want, and she uses the F word, but she means have sex with whomever you want, but marry Adventists. You'll thank me later. And honestly, I think if you can date non-Adventists and have sex with them, it means you're already opening yourself up to that. You don't have to be married to a person for them to start using muti on you. They can use it even if you're not married to them, even if it's not muti, but other spirits that you can be susceptible to because of that. So I would say, in my humble opinion, with everything I have discussed so far, is that if you end up deciding to marry or date and not an Adventist, do it with caution. Okay, we can't, as we're not all the same. You know, maybe you might be lucky like my parents and get married for 35 years, or be blessed like them, get married for over 35 years, and be separated by death, and both of you have an understanding and your compromises are not major, you know. But not all of us can be that fortunate. Do you understand? And I want to share, I'm closing off this video. I had promised myself that I will not make videos longer than 20 minutes, and I feel like I've been going on for longer than that. I'm not sure how long this specific video is, but bear with me. Anyway, to close this off, I'm going to read a post that I saw on Facebook. Now, it's a longer post, okay? You can look for this guy and read the full thing. It's a very beautiful story. It is Malusi Skunyana, Skunyana. Malusi Skunyana. He shared a story about how he became Adventist and how he's, I don't know, uncle or aunt, his aunt married, they were not Adventist, his aunt married an Adventist, the whole family ended up converting and all of those things. It's a nice, beautiful story, and I want you to read it. But when he closes that whole story of his closing paragraph says, am I encouraging people to marry non-Adventists? No, not at all. My message and my counsel is always marry Adventist. But if you do marry a non-Adventist, God's hands are not tied. I love this. He says he can still use that marriage to carry out his purposes. However, and I love that he brings caution. However, the risks of conflict in an unequally yoked marriage are real. And in this case, when he says unequally yoked, he's speaking about Adventist to non-Adventist. But I do recognize that we can definitely be unequally yoked within the church. Therefore, he says, okay, so now there's more to that closing paragraph, but I stopped there, and then he has a closing line after that paragraph. He says, Therefore, marry an Adventist, not just any Adventist, but the right Adventist for you. And that's exactly my view. I'm not saying that you will not find a good man that is non-Adventist. You definitely will. But look at what matters to you. Look at, even when you find a man within the Adventist church, or a woman, because speaking about relationships, even if you find a non-Adventist, yeah, let's not say male or woman, let's say Adventist. If you find a non-Adventist that is good for you, then good. God is the one who decides at the end of the day and who blesses us. But even when you do find an Adventist within the church, still chances are you will be unequally yoked. So that is why it is important to find the partner for you. So that is it. I'm excited to hear what you have to say, guys. Your opinions, your views, your testimonies, your stories about dating Adventists, about dating non-Adventists, and how it went. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. I hope you learned something, especially the younger ones who are still coming into this dating scene, who are still to get into the actual relationships, like adult relationships. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope I will be learning a lot from you and your views as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to yet again to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you on the next video. I love you loads. Get my babies.